John Cena vs Bobby Lashley is one of the most memorable rivalries of the year 2007 in the WWE. We had a Mr. You Can See Me in the middle of a dominant reign and not far from being invincible against an almighty athlete on the right, and the suspense was tremendous. I welcome you on the Wrestling Paradise to dive into the story of this top tier match. You will learn, among other things, the entire exciting timeline of this rivalry in every detail, and the incredible way Bobby became Cena's challenger, but also the secrets around this clash, and why WWE did not set up a rematch between the two men. You are on the Wrestling Paradise, Cena vs Lashley, the story of an amazing match. Let's go! It all starts during the July 2nd, 2007 edition of Raw, between the rising star Bobby Lashley, who had dominated ECW for months and who was stripped of the title when he arrived on the red brand a few weeks before, and the one who had been dominating the Monday Night Show for almost a year. I'm talking about the champ, John Cena. At the previous pay-per-view, namely Vengeance Night of Champions, Cena had beaten in a fatal 5-way, check this out, Mick Foley, who was the one who was pinned, Randy Orton, King Booker, and so a certain Bobby Lashley. Hang in there, buddy, because we're going to relive this really special rivalry together, and its end will still be extremely surprising. Believe me, I didn't choose it for nothing, so relax and we'll explore step by step the ingredients of a rather unique confrontation in WWE history. The show starts with a short promo by Mr. Kennedy, in which he is bragging, but he is quickly interrupted by Cena, as teasing as he is intense, with the one who had just lost his Money in the Bank briefcase a few weeks before to Edge, and Cena will not fail to remind him by making fun of him. Then it is King Booker who arrives and joins the two men in the ring. The King is determined to have a shot at the WWE title, but there is a music that I love that resonates in the arena. Hey, nothing you can say! Randy Orton is here and does not fail to brag about his accomplishments, but he will especially highlight that he has never had a one-on-one match against John Cena. The chemistry between them is tremendous, but while they look straight into each other's eyes, we hear Bobby Lashley's theme song here in Dallas, Texas. I've never lost the ECW title, and now I want the WWE title. His intentions are clear, and it is clearly the opponent that Cena takes the most seriously by staring him straight in the eye very seriously, telling him that they're going to have to do something about it. The general manager on that night, William Regal, arrives and has an important message to deliver to the 5 wrestlers in the ring. At the end of the evening, a new number 1 contender will be named, and we will even have a contract signing at the end of the show. But how will all this be decided? Well, it will be a beat the clock challenge. The one who has the fastest victory over his opponent will go to face the champ at the Great American Bash. And it starts immediately with the Randy Orton against, hang on to your seats, Jeff Hardy. It's quite crazy to think that there is a 6-month gap between this rather puffy version of Jeff with a not so loud fan reaction and his superb Rumble 2008 version where the same match will take place, but this time for the Supreme title. However, the two matches will have the same ending, with Orton countering a twist of fate to do a devastating RKO and win the match in 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Here's the time to beat, my friend. Right now, it's Orton versus Cena at the Great American Bash. And while Randy Orton just met Cody Rhodes backstage, it is Booker T who will face none other than Val Venis. Hello, ladies. To try to qualify, and that's what he will do in 4 minutes and 30 seconds, after destroying the adult movie star with an efficient big scissor kick. We see Mr. Kennedy sitting backstage with Super Crazy, whom he is literally trying to corrupt by asking him to lie down for him in order to avoid a real humiliation. And this is what the latter promises him. Si, de nada, mister, I will let you win. The two make their entrances, and Super Crazy has the nerve to interrupt the presentation of his opponent. The bell rings, and as the clock starts ticking, it is a more than confident Kennedy who will grab his microphone and warn his opponent to never do that again. And then, huge surprise, Super Crazy does a roll-up on Kennedy and wins the match. Wow! Between Cena's super mocking promo at the beginning of the show and this humiliation, the one who comes from Green Bay, Wisconsin, really isn't at his best, while King Booker remains the man to beat. We will see him backstage with the one who will be Bobby Lashley's opponent for the last match of this Beat the Clock challenge, namely Shelton Benjamin. He tells him that he doesn't have to beat Lashley tonight, he only has to hold on for more than 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and if he does that, he will be the first to have a shot at his title. Shelty B kisses the King's ring, and we can say that the two men have an agreement. Personally, I find that this is the ideal opponent for this specific moment. With his agility, Shelton will really be able to cause problems for Bobby and run away from him to hold on for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. There is really suspense and a great challenge in front of the former soldier. It is under the eyes of the King and his beloved Queen Sharmell that this match will take place, and the tension is high. Benjamin runs away for most of the match while Lashley glances at the timer on the Titantron with a worried look. I love this kind of situations because we really feel that every second counts. There is a real tension and it gives us a super pleasant little stress, even if, yes, what seems to be taking shape remains quite predictable. It is precisely thanks to an impressive spear on Shelton Benjamin and a victory when there were only 24 seconds left that Bobby Lashley officially becomes the #1 contender for the WWE title. It will be Bobby Lashley against John Cena at the Great American Bash. What a matchup! The crowd is all over the place, just like Jim Ross, who is already managing to hype us. William Regal is back with a contract, and just like at the beginning of the show, we have a John Cena who takes his opponent very seriously. And that's the Cena I like. Believable, serious, competitive. Lashley signs the contract, but Kennedy and Booker T make their entrance. Kennedy says that this is a joke. You want some? Come get some. And the show ends with Lashley and Cena destroying them and getting the two chaps to flee. Cena then goes to Regal to sign the contract, but the moment he turns, Bobby Lashley eviscerates him with a big spear. The message is clear. You have a real threat in front of you, Johnny boy. Practically the whole show would have revolved around the build-up of this match, and it really helps us to understand the importance of it. How will Cena react next week? What's next in the build-up of this super exciting rivalry? It is in an electric atmosphere, and after the beautiful intro followed by some nice pyro, that the new challenger makes his entrance for this July 9th, 2007 edition of Monday Night Raw, live from Lafayette, Louisiana. And it is confirmed by Jim Ross. We will indeed have a big match between the champion John Cena and his challenger Bobby Lashley. It's a frustrated King Booker who enters just after Lashley, and we immediately go for a confrontation between the two men. Bobby dominates almost the entire match and does his finisher when Mr. Kennedy interferes to attack him. Booker T and Kennedy, who seem to have forged a real alliance, go after the #1 contender when our beloved coach, the Raw General Manager, comes to stop this vicious attack. He says that tonight in the main event, it will be King Booker and Mr. Kennedy against Bobby Lashley and a partner of his choice. It should be noted that the coach sent John Cena to Los Angeles for an interview. This start of the show makes us directly take Lashley's side, and we must admit that Kennedy and King Booker know perfectly well how to make themselves hateable. I am completely in it, and I'm totally invested in the storyline. Who will be Bobby's partner tonight? Later in the show, we see the veteran Arn Anderson giving advice to the one who is now the #1 threat to John Cena's title, before seeing a great promo before the match. Intensity, suspense, charisma. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh yeah! Meanwhile, Booker and Kennedy are plotting behind the scenes, and the King is overwhelmed by Kennedy's attitude the previous week. We see John Cena live from Los Angeles for an interview by Jim Ross. He calls Lashley's attack last week an attack worthy of the competition between them, and he will confront his challenger next week. Once again, and as since the beginning of the rivalry, he puts his opponent over. He is strong, competitive, credible. For him, Bobby Lashley is an extremely tough opponent, but he will not give up under any circumstance. And let's go for our main event of the evening. Who will be the partner of the #1 challenger to face these two villains that are his opponents tonight? It is, drumroll please, the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy. A very good choice on Bobby's part because he is an ideal partner to complement his style and have more in-ring possibilities. And as this sign says in the crowd, Johnny is raw. And Johnny is especially really looking forward to see how things will evolve and whether Cena will be involved or not in the end of the show. We will especially have a confrontation between Booker T and Jeff Hardy in this match, until the entries of Lashley and Kennedy, with a total domination of the #1 contender to the title, who will beat his opponent up with an incredibly powerful spear, just after jumping over the Green Bay Man, giving the victory to his team. No John Cena on the horizon, and the two lads celebrate together to end a show that will have given even more credibility to the man of the hour. It's hot on Monday Night Raw, and we are now less than a week away from an epic matchup between two incredible competitors. Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler are on commentary, and the Corpus Christi Arena in Texas is ready to explode in anticipation of the amazing showdown scheduled tonight between Bobby Lashley and John Cena. Throughout the evening, we will have little clips to talk about the upcoming match by none other than, hang on tight, Ric Flair, Edge, Batista, look at his class, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mick Foley, and JBL. What an absolutely incredible star power. It's great because it reinforces the prestige of the match even more. It is hyped, we feel that it's of paramount importance, and I love it. Flair, Edge, Stone Cold, and JBL predict a victory for the champ, while Batista and Mick Foley see Bobby Lashley winning. It's time for the showdown, and I must say that I love the staging with desks, including one near the stage for the coach, a wet carpet. We feel a real attention to detail and an absolute desire to make the confrontation ultra competitive. The reaction of the crowd for John Cena is crazy, and it is Jonathan Coachman who will ask questions to the two who will have to answer each in turn. The coach asks Cena if he feels that his reign as champion will end this Sunday. Yes, answers Cena, who starts pretending to cry when talking about the spear he got from Bobby a few days before. And I absolutely hate to see Cena acting like a clown, and we can clearly see that the crowd is not reacting. It is really awkward. Fortunately, John Boy quickly regains his seriousness, looks his challenger in the eye, and tells him that despite all the adversity he had to face, he never backed down. He promises him that he will get the best Cena at the Great American Bash. The coach then asks Bobby why he speared Cena, and here we must admit that Lashley is really average on the mic. He doesn't really articulate and lacks intensity, in my opinion. He tells Cena that he's not here to talk, and let me tell you that that's a good thing. Knocks down his podium and says that he's here to fight. The coach is overwhelmed and puts them back in place when Lashley walks up to him. Says that if he touches him, he loses his opportunity. And Cena takes the mic to tell him to stop focusing on the general manager and be focused on the biggest opportunity of his life. Lashley heads to the wing to go to Cena, but is immediately surrounded by security and the referees. He leaves, and Cena ends this war by recalling his challenger's accomplishments, saying that many think Bobby Lashley is invincible, indestructible, and that at the Great American Bash he will have a huge test in front of him because the champ is here. In the meantime, Lashley returns to confront the champ, and this time the security and the referees will not be able to do anything about it. The face-off is tense, the chemistry is crazy, and to my surprise, the two are going to fight each other while I was expecting a handshake. The WWE staff separates the two men, and we meet again on Sunday for a summit match between two absolutely impressive athletes. We're finally here, my friend. After all this build-up, it's finally time for the big match, and it will take place in San Jose, California. During the show, we have a first clip to highlight Bobby Lashley and his accomplishments. Later, we will have the one of John Cena, who will comment on the greatest moments of his career with some rather epic music. The American superhero is here, telling that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you always have to fight. The pre-match promo will really be of high quality, with a mix between the superstars' predictions about the match and epic images of the two opponents combined. We fully feel this competitive, intense side. Some bet on the experience of John Cena, while others bet on the freshness and inner fire of Bobby Lashley. And here we are, my man. Hang on tight, because it's time for this battle between John Cena and Bobby Lashley for the WWE title. And there's a big surprise, since Lashley makes his entrance on the brand new music, much better than the old one, according to me. Punctuated with what seem like the sounds of padlocks, this sound will blow you away. Too late to run now, cause hell will be calling your name. It's a real shame not to have had it before, because compared to the other one that had no lyrics and clearly lacked personality, it's a significant improvement in the presentation of the challenger. John Cena, for his part, makes an entrance that I love by lifting his title above him. He is serious and mature, without being a clown and running everywhere. The champ is ready to defend his title. I love the fact that the referee Mike Chioda searches the two participants, and in particular John Cena, who has an outfit that is more favorable to carrying possible objects. Once again, we feel all the care in the details. We are fully in it. The match starts immediately with a showdown won by Lashley. Everything is based on intimidation. The two look at each other very deeply and really go for it. I like this rather psychological writing with a Lashley who immediately shows the full extent of his power to a Cena who will have to bring out his best to face it. I'd rather tell you right now, my friend, despite the fact that I really love Lashley, I'm for Cena. Bobby is not ready yet to be world champion, according to me. And Cena is in a very interesting run, even if there's a lot of people who are tired of him, with in particular the Cena sucks chants at the beginning of the match. Lashley is bleeding from the forehead, but continues to show his power while being sharp as a cat. He does several pin attempts, but the champ always gets back up at 2. Cena regains control with 2 moves that I love, namely a running bulldog and a top rope leg drop. But Lashley immediately regains control with a submission, as he is a wrestling specialist. Afterwards, it is quite even, with phases of domination by one then the other, with a 5-knuckle shuffle and a power slam, until a FU from the leader of the C-Nation, but the latter does not have the strength to do the pinfall immediately, which leaves Lashley time to recover and get back up at 2. I note that, to my surprise, Bobby is far from being loved by everybody, since he gets some whistles when he prepares his moves. Lashley is about to go for a spear, but Cena counters him, and there's the STFU. Bobby slowly but surely crawls to the ropes and manages to... Lashley is wobbling on the ground. Will he pass out? No, he manages to touch the ropes and get out of this trap. Cena gets up, and there it is, a gigantic spear. Whoa! It's going very fast, and pin attempts are becoming more and more dangerous on both sides. The two men are on the top rope, and Cena is going for a super FU. If he succeeds, it will be complicated for the challenger. It's working! Incredible! 1, 2, and 3! There's a 3! Cena retains his title after 15 minutes of an intense confrontation. Wow! What an intensity! What a story! But between us, I really didn't feel the time go by at all. Cena's victory makes sense to me, but I would have liked it to last a little longer, and for Lashley to look more dominant. This is a match that calls for a rematch. This time, John Boy was able to find the resources to beat a more than tough opponent, but Lashley deserves another shot to potentially apply what he has learned throughout this confrontation. At the end of the match, Bobby approaches Cena to shake his hand, and the latter accepts. Fair play prevails in this ultra-competitive duel. Cena watches his opponent leave on the ramp, refusing to get his hand raised by Kyoda, and seems to have been impacted by this huge match. On a personal standpoint, I really liked the match, but again, Lashley comes out of it quite weak in my opinion. He showed great things, but the madness was missing. That moment when you really think he's going to win. A few words about the production of the show to say that the stage was very beautiful. I liked the whole graphics in USA mode with the fireworks and the blockbuster feel. The blue and red ropes adapted to the show. Really awesome. And for your information, my friend, we had a Batista against the Great Khali and Kane for the World Heavyweight Championship, as well as a Jeff Hardy versus Umaga. CM Punk faced John Morrison for the ECW title, and Randy Orton faced none other than Dusty Rhodes in a bull rope match. MVP and Matt Hardy faced each other for the US title. Chavo Guerrero issued an open challenge for the Cruiserweight title. The Sandman faced Carlito, while Melina faced Candice Michelle. And Booker T came to call out Triple H, who was going to make a huge comeback very soon. As for the build-up of the match, I will give it 4 stars. It was perfectly adapted to both characters, I think. The whole qualification process was exciting to follow during the July 2nd Raw. Lashley's final spear really was shocking, and it fully launched the rivalry. Too bad we didn't have Cena on the next Raw, but Kennedy and Booker T did a pretty good job as heels to make Lashley likable. Finally, the last confrontation kept its promises and really sealed the hype for this Titan confrontation. As for the match, I give it a solid 3.5 stars. I had a great time. The writing was pretty good and the crowd reacted well. The chemistry between the two men was excellent, and we really felt that this match was special. I'm sorry that Lashley didn't get strong out of it, and that it didn't last longer. Let's say 5 good minutes more. What is very important to note here is that this clash would surprisingly be Bobby Lashley's last one in the WWE for more than 10 years. During the match, he injured his rotator cuff in the shoulder area, which implies several months of absence. WWE would stage an attack by Mr. Kennedy on the Rising Star to justify his disappearance from the screens before Lashley was finally fired by WWE in February 2008. Apparently, Bobby was mad that his partner at the time, Crystal Marshall, was fired. But it was above all the supposed attitude of the official Michael Hayes that would have been too much for him, with alleged racist comments on his part, according to several sources. In 2021, Lashley will declare that Vince McMahon put him against Cena so early in his career because, on the one hand, it was very exciting for the fans and therefore hyper profitable, but also because it is the kind of matches where you can learn a lot. He says that John Cena helped him reach a milestone, that people can say whatever they want about him, but that the guy knows wrestling perfectly. Cena took him to the next level. So my friend, we've just had a great time together, and a rather unique rivalry in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed it, and I have several super interesting questions for you. What do you think of the Beat the Clock challenge concept? Did you like this rivalry? And finally, do you think Lashley should have won it? Come tell me in the comments, I'm really interested to know your opinion. We can say that this topic raises a lot of questions. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay in the paradise of wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?